Welcome to my Ground Zero SEO module of the course. Basically, Ground Zero SEO is everything you do before you start the actual process of SEO. It is an integral part of the process, but it's really something you need to do real quick to understand what kind of niche you're into, what the expectations are, what the competition is, and things like that. Okay, so this is my system of analyzing an SEO project before I do anything. So even before I do like any kind of detailed analysis, I spend about an hour of my time looking at the project and looking at the factors over here. There are many questions that you'll ask yourself, and the answers will determine the path of your project. Things like what kind of site is it? Is it blog? Is it an e-commerce site? Is it a local SEO site? And then is this a new site or is it an existing site? Has it had any SEO done on it in the past, or is it, or are you going to be starting afresh with the SEO? And then you also need to consider what kind of budgets there are or what kind of time constraints there are for the project. These could be your limitations if it's your own project, or these could be client limitations if this was a client SEO project. And then, of course, you got to look at the niche. I mean, that's one of the most important factors. Yeah, you need to sort of go into the niche and understand how competitive the niche is, because that will give you a realistic picture of the budget and the time that is required to produce any kind of results. So, with that said, let's take a look at some of these factors in a little more detail. The type of site. By this I mean what kind of site is this, and it could be any of these, and perhaps it could be some of these that I sort of haven't mentioned, but these are the main kind of sites. So is this a local business website? And if it is, then you need to do local SEO. You need to do Google My Business SEO with maps ranking and the 3-pack rankings, which is completely different from organic, because the method you use to rank a site in the maps or in the 3-pack is totally different from organic SEO. And in this course, I'm covering mostly the organic SEO. I'm not looking at Google My Business, although if you're interested in that, I will probably release some modules in the future. And then you've got to look at the kind of, it could be a blog. If the site is mostly an information-based blog site, or for example, it could be a review site, it could be reviewing specific products in the niche or services in the niche, then you need to do blog SEO. With that, you'll probably need to be looking at every blog post that has been released in the past or that is made in the future, and then you got to rank each of these posts. And the keywords could be different, or the keywords could be part of the niche if it's a blog in the niche, or they could be totally unconnected if it's a more general sort of blog which spans across multiple niches. And then we have a global company website. So if it's not like a local site, but it's a global site, so the client services people all around the world, and then you don't really need to do any local business, because then you're not looking to rank in the local snack pack. And for that, you'll need to analyze the core pages of the site, which would be the home page, and then the core services or the core product pages. Understand the keywords, and then start building links to them and do the SEO based on that. And if the client has a blog, or if he doesn't have a blog, you'll have to recommend one. That's highly suggested. You really will need a blog, and you'll be posting like related content in that blog on a regular basis, related to the client's services or the product that the client is offering. And that's a good way to power up the site, build its authority, and pass down link juice. And then there's e-commerce SEO, which is a completely different beast. This is mostly product-specific SEO. It could be an e-commerce site in a specific niche, what usually happens, and then you need to sort of address each product and build silos around the product, which I'll talk about later in the course also. And you'll have to do product specific SEO. And then there's the user generated content sites, the UGC sites. These are sites that that the basic code has been set up for, but the content is not generated by a closed by the owner of the site or a closed set of entities, but it's open. Anyone can come in, register, and create content on those sites. These are sites like forums and wikis like Wikipedia. They could be marketplace sites where people come in and post their products in the marketplace. Of course, that is moderated. There will be moderated marketplaces. So when people post their products for sale, it's moderated by the owners of the site, and then it's published or made live. And then there's classified sites. Again, this is something like Craigslist, or it could be directories and things like that. Again, these could be moderated or they could be open. So now, if your site, there are two scenarios, right, over here when you're just starting out at looking at the site. Either this is a site that already exists, or it's a new project. If it's a completely new project, then you can skip this and this is not applicable. But if the site already exists, you need to firstly do a quick on-page audit. Just look at the site really quick, browse around, see how many pages there are, see kind of what kind of content it is. Are the images unique? How many images are there? Does it have a blog? You can run some handy tools also if you want at this stage, but I wouldn't really go into that detailed phase at this point of time, but you're most welcome to run Screaming Frog and things like that. Okay, so then you need to look at how much SEO has been done on the site already, right? So like if it's an existing site, but if there's no SEO that's been done on it already in the past, then you're going to treat it differently as opposed to if there has been SEO done, if some link building has already been done, if some internal structuring and things like that have already been done on the site. So you need to look at that, and you can get that you can get this information by Googling directly, or you can use some of the tools out there like Ahrefs or SEMrush or Majestic to do that, just to get a quick peek into what kind of backlinks a site has, and look at things like the on-page and other things. You need to analyze some of the metrics that the site has built up. Things like page authority, domain authority, the Ahrefs domain rank, and then you need to look at a lot of the metrics, like I just said. Like you can use Google to just poke around and look at some of the metrics, and you can use nifty extensions like SERPworks, or you could use Ahrefs also here. Just to get a quick sort of analysis on the metrics of the site. You should also check the site's current rankings. I mean, is the site ranking for any keywords? Is the site getting any organic traffic currently, which I'm sure it is, like if it's an existing site. But you need to understand how much traffic the site is getting, so you can sort of you'll get a better picture of what kind of SEO is required and what the potential is, because you'll know what kind of traffic the number one spot site is getting, or the sites are ranking on top. So you need to understand what kind of gaps there are. You can use Google Webmaster Tools, or Search Console as it's called right now, and also Google Analytics to get into the back end and see how Google looks at the site. You can use Search Console to see if there are any penalties on the site that have been handed to the site in the past, or if there are still existing penalties. You can look at Google Analytics to see if there's been sudden traffic drops in the past, right around the time when Google update happened, which would indicate that the site was penalized by that particular update in the Google algorithm. Search Console will also give you a lot of other nifty data, as especially it'll tell you exactly what keywords Google is seeing as important to the site. And then you should also take a quick look at the socials, if it's applicable. If the client does have, like social media accounts set up and social sites set up where they post content, or if they're interlinking the sites, then that's important. Of course, if it's like a plumbing site, if it's a plumber, then, for example, if it's a plumber, then you don't really need socials. How you determine whether you need socials or not would again be on the niche, or you can just look at the sites that are ranking on top, and you can look at what kind of social activity the sites that are ranking high are doing. Okay, now how exactly do you analyze the niche? I mean, it's important to do comprehensive and analysis of the niche. You need to understand how competitive the niche is. To do that, you look at the sites ranking on top. You look at all the data, or at this phase, you can just sort of skim through and look at that. You can use tools like SEMrush or Ahrefs to help you with that. And then you need to also look at how competitive the keywords are. These are keywords that are suggested to you by the client, or you discover. So if the client has like a set of 5 or 6 primary keywords that they give you, and they said they want to rank these keywords, you can definitely look at the competitive levels of those keywords. But if there are other keywords you discover as you go into the niche, then you can suggest these keywords to the client. You can tell the client these are easier keywords. This will be more bang for the buck. They're better for your budget. They're low-hanging fruits and things like that. And then, of course, you need to look at the user intent in the niche, which is basically the query type. Like, why are users visiting the site? What kind of queries they type into Google before they come to your site? Are these navigational queries, which are simple, like brand queries, which could be like YouTube, a query with just YouTube, or Wikipedia, or where the user knows exactly what he wants and he just wants to get to the site or get to that particular page. Or if they're information-based queries, and these information-based queries are queries where the user is asking questions. Most queries are information-based. A lot of them are. Majority, I would say, are information-based queries. And then you have transactional queries. Transactional queries are when the user he knows exactly what he wants to do. He wants to execute something. These are like purchase-based queries, or if he wants to sign up somewhere. So an example would be buy best drone 2018, or buy DJI Phantom drone. These would be transactional queries because the word buy exists in it, and the user really wants to just transact. He just wants to buy. That's the transaction he wants to do, is buy. And so that would be a transactional based query. So time and budget is also an important ranking factor, and you got to look at this after doing your quick evaluation, and you got to go into the budgets that are set for the project, or the time frame that's set into the project, and just ask yourself, are these expectations too high, or are they realistic? And this is important. And you may not be able to answer this accurately, but the better you get at SEO, and when you keep working on sites, you're going to get more and more accurate with this. So with that said, I hope you sort of got an insight into why this is important and what exactly you need to do. And in some of the future videos, I will sort of run you through a quick look over the shoulders walkthrough on how I do my ground zero SEO. And I will see you in the next video.